Teachings of Queen Kunti, or Prayers of Queen Kunti, Part 2. And you can see we're only going to be covering 2 verses, but there's a lot in these 2 verses. You'll see as we go forward. So, anybody here that is not familiar with Queen Kunti, needs an introduction to who she is? Raise your hand. Anybody not know Queen Kunti? Fantastic. The situation is Krishna has participated in the Rajasuya Yajna, which means he accepted the title of the Emperor of the world, which he was entitled to because as the son of Pandu, he was the rightful heir to the throne of the world. And he did this after a whole series of other events took place where he and his brothers returned back to Hastinapur, and they had become a celebrated group of kings or princes, and Dhritarashtra decided to give them half of the kingdom. They were entitled to the whole kingdom, half the kingdom. And the half the kingdom that was given to them was a forest. Thanks a lot, right? Khandavaprastha, a forest. And a whole series of events happened. In that forest, Agni, the fire god, made a request of Krishna and Arjuna. I have indigestion, too many offerings, too much ghee. I have indigestion. I need some relief. There's some herbs and some medicinal items in this forest. I want to burn and in this way digest these medicinal herbs. But every time I do that, Indra starts a downpour of rain. Help. Krishna and Arjuna, help. So they agreed. And as Agni was burning that forest, the entire forest, big flames, big forest fire, living entities were, Rakshasas and Danavas were residing in the forest, and they came out of the forest, and Arjuna with his bow and arrow and Krishna with his Sudarshan chakra was chopping them. One of them that escaped was Mayadanava. This is review. Mayadanava, Krishna was ready to chop him with his chakra. Mayadanava took shelter of Arjuna. Help, protect me. Arjuna said, yes, I'll protect you. One who takes shelter of me, I'll give protection. So when Krishna saw that, he checked his Sudarshan chakra. He spared the life of Mayadanava. Why? Because Mayadanava took shelter of his devotee. And Krishna likes when those who take shelter of his devotee, he'll also extend protection. So Mayadanava was very grateful. Now, Mayadanava, he's a Danava. He has the powers and even the disposition of a demoniac person. Later, in the 10th canto Bhagavatam, there was a personality named Shalva. Shalva? You know Shalva. Shalva had a get-back spirit against Krishna, against the entire dynasty of the Vrishnis. He wanted to wipe out everybody. So what he did was, Shalva, he underwent very severe austerity for a very long time. What was his austerity? He worshipped Lord Shiva, and he ate only powder or dust, ashes. Very severe, yummy. And Lord Shiva was pleased by his austerities, propitiating him. And Lord Shiva asked, what would you like? What is the benediction you would like? What was his benediction? He wanted a vimana that could travel at will anywhere in the universe, and specifically, he could defeat the entire city of Dwarka and all the residents in Dwarka, Krishna included. Lord Shiva granted his request. So he was given this vimana, and he could travel. It was like a machine, and it was pretty. Who built that machine? Mayadanava. Lord Shiva made a request. Mayadanava, can you build one of these? Sure. And he built it. And Krishna destroyed it. And destroyed Shalva too. And it was an interesting 2 chapters of Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. So Mayadanava had powers. He had construction powers. Like Vishvakarma, the architect of the demigods, Mayadanava was the architect of the Daityas. He's a Danava. So he agreed. He volunteered to Arjuna, you saved my life. I'd like to reciprocate. Just name it, it's yours. And Arjuna said, no. Kshatriyas, that is like a bribe. Kshatriyas don't protect people and get some remuneration for protecting people. No, thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. And Krishna said, say yes. Because what you have inherited half the kingdom in a forest that's now burned. So Mayadanava can build a spectacular palace for Yudhisthira and Kunti and Draupadi and all of you. Engage him in that way. So he agreed. Mayadanava went and gathered all the ingredients from faraway places and brought them all to this Khandava forest that's now burned, and built this amazing, mystical palace. It was a knockout. People were really impressed. Really impressed. And they came to visit the Pandavas and they were in awe. It was vastly superior to Hastinapur. And so they are now acclaimed. It was after that event, and so much recognition had come to the Pandavas, who were previously incognito and so forth and so on. They're in this very special position in the eyes of the citizens, who Yudhisthira was the rightful king. So he had his Rajasuya Yagya right in Indraprastha, right in that palace. And Krishna came. Krishna attended. There's a description in Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. He attended. And after that Rajasuya Yagya, that's the scene that you see on the screen. Krishna is now going back to Dwarka. And there's Kunti. And right behind Kunti, there's Yudhisthira. And of course, the other of the Pandavas. And she has royal privileges. So she just went right through the crowd. See the big, big crowd in this painting. Krishna's on his chariot. He's ready to go. And she stops the chariot and offers prayers. She doesn't say don't go, but she's saying don't go. Because she's not, Krishna's not the order supplier of anyone. And she knows that. So she's honoring him in various ways. We heard part 1, and now here's part 2. Now so far, so good. It's just one image instead of 2 images. Let's see if we get the sound system. Now, a little advice. The singer sings twice, and there's a pause in between refrains. So please pause, because otherwise it gets all messed up. Pause. Yatha Rishikesha Kalena Devaki Kamsena Rudhati Chiram Shuchapita Vimochitaham cha sahatmaja vibho Tvayeva nadena muhurvipaddanat Yatha Rishikesha Kalena Devaki Kamsena Rudhati Chiram Shuchapita Vimochitaham cha sahatmaja vibho Oh, Rishikesha, master of the senses and Lord of lords, you have released your mother, Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. So the response is going to go, first of all, to her. Kunti's having her children released from a series of constant dangers, and she lists, when Duryodhana tried to feed Bhima a poisoned cake, when Duryodhana tried to burn the Pandavas alive in a palace made of lac, when the brothers had to face man-eating Rakshasas like Hidimba, when they were cheated by the Kauravas in gambling, and on numerous other occasions, Krishna was always there to give protection. And then the verse began, you released your mother from prison. So this is after the fact, after Krishna returned and finished Kamsa and Chanur and Mustika and his brothers, Krishna went straight to the prison. This is his father on the left and father and mother on the right. He released them from Kamsa's prison. Kunti Devi was shown far more favor because Lord Krishna did not save the other children of Devaki, the other means the 6, whereas he saved the children of Kunti Devi. This was done because Devaki's husband Vasudeva was living, whereas Kunti Devi was a widow. And there was none to help her except Krishna. Lesson. Krishna helps those who are in greater difficulty. So if you want more help from Krishna, you know what to do, right? And if you don't know what to do, Krishna will know what to do. He'll put you into some greater difficulty. The conclusion is that Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who is in greater dangers. Sometimes he puts devotees into such dangers because in that condition of helplessness, the devotee becomes more attached to the Lord. The more the attachment is there for the Lord, the more success there is for the devotee. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it's true. So if you know somebody that's going through some difficulty, or you may be that somebody going through some difficulty, and it doesn't seem to go away, it seems to get worse and seems to get worse, and provided that you or that devotee are staying faithful to the principles of devotional life, Vaishnava life, and sincerely trying to your capacity or this other person's capacity to stay in fidelity with the mission of Krishna's service, that person is in a very special position. I know a few people like that. Commentary by Vishwanath. What was the reason? I, Kunti, was more afflicted with suffering by my karmas. I was suffering even more than Devaki. I was saved by you, my master. She had a husband, Vasudeva, and thus had the possibility of having more children. And since you were the crest jewel among all children, what need was there for her previous inferior children who were not saved? Kunti had Krishna as her son. Interesting commentary. Moreover, I was again and again saved from a host of dangers, whereas she was saved from one little danger caused by Kamsa. She had not even a trace of danger, since she was happy with repeated expectations that the Supreme Lord would be born from her womb. And after you were born, she had no danger at all. Clever Vishwanath making his commentary. So now there's only 2 verses, so this means the second verse is very robust. And there's the painting, of course, is Krishna coming to the ashram or the home of Vasudeva and his wife, Vatika, and the child Shukadeva is within her womb. Shanmahagne Purushad Darshanad Tasat Sahaya Radhe Radhe Neka Mahato
Shanmahagne Purushad Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichata Ridhi Ridhi Kamaharatasprato Dhamyastrataschasma Paridhi Rakshita Visharmahagne Purushad Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichata
Midhe Neka Maharatha. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisonous cake, that's the first word, Vishan, poisonous cake, from a great fire, Maha Agni, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, Asat Sabhaya, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, Vana Vasa Krishrita, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashvatthama. Now, his name is not mentioned. He's just the son of Drona, Astras, Cha. You saved us from all of these great misfortunes. So, starting with the poisoned cake, we saw that image before. There's Bhima, and in the background is Duryodhana, watching Bhima eating voraciously. The great fire, shown in the background, that the house of lac, everything is burst in flames, while the Pandavas are escaping through a tunnel that was all arranged by Vidura. Whoops. From cannibals, that's Hidimba, you remember him. Asat Sabhaya, the vicious assembly, where Dushasana, under Duryodhana's direction, was trying to make Draupadi naked in the public assembly. The 5 Pandavas are holding their heads, seeing this terrible experience, and Dhritarashtra just sitting there silently, and Krishna supplying unlimited sari. Sufferings during our exile in the forest. And finally, we're going to hear, this is where it gets like lots and lots of images and messages. Maharata, Astrata, the battle where great generals fought. So there's Krishna and Arjuna, of course, right on the right side. There's grandfather Bhishma on the left side, and then the big assembly of many other warriors. So we're going to go through not all days, but some portion, starting with day 9, where Krishna protects Arjuna from Bhishma's weapons. Now, you know the circumstance. At the end of day number 8, Duryodhana came to the tent of Bhishma and said, "You're not trying. You're our general, commander-in-chief, but you're partial to the Pandavas, so you're not even trying." And Bhishma said, "Very well. Here's 5 arrows. Take these 5 arrows, bring them to see me when you see, as you come every morning and offer your respects. Bring those 5 arrows, and I will kill the Pandavas with these 5 arrows." Thank you very much. Omniscient Krishna told Arjuna, "You remember when you saved Duryodhana's life? And Duryodhana there was a Gandharva, that, et cetera, et cetera. You saved his life. And he was so grateful that you saved his life. He promised you anything that you wanted. And you said, 'No, thanks, I'll ask later.' Remember that? Go ask him. Just go right to his tent and ask him for the 5 arrows. He'll know what 5 arrows we're talking about." He didn't give an explanation, just, Arjuna went and asked for the 5 arrows, and Duryodhana gave him the 5 arrows. So the next morning, morning number 9, Grandfather Bhishma wanted to know where's the 5 arrows. Said, oh, last night before I took rest, Arjuna came and asked for the 5 arrows. And Bhishma did some quick math, 2 plus 2. This is Krishna's doing. So Krishna, I who have never broken my promise, have now had my promise broken by tricky Krishna. Now, I'm going to make Krishna break his promise. I'll make another vow before the sun sets. Before the sun sets, I'm going to kill his dear friend Arjuna unless Krishna breaks his vow. You know what happened. So Krishna is going to protect Arjuna from Bhishma's weapons. There's lots of nice discussion about this. Bhishma was firing and firing and firing, and Arjuna is the chariot driver, and he's in front of Arjuna, so he was taking the arrows of Grandfather Bhishma into his chest, instead of Arjuna taking Grandfather Bhishma's arrows on his chest. And Krishna liked it. There's a description of this in Nectar Devotion. He felt the arrows of Grandfather Bhishma like a lover biting the beloved. And towards the end of the day, when Arjun's chariot wheel was stuck, Grandfather Bhishma was ready to kill him. Krishna picked up the chariot wheel, like as soon as Sunshine. He doesn't need a chariot wheel, but he picked up the chariot wheel. And Arjuna is holding him back. No, don't smash him. And Grandfather Bhishma was completely ecstatic. He dropped his bow, dropped his arms. Smash me, please. It'll be my greatest benediction. And he surrendered his weapons to Krishna. Now, this very same Grandfather Bhishma created a little bit of a difficulty sometime subsequently. The 3 daughters of the king of Kashi, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika, were kidnapped by him in order to become wives for Vijayatiravirya. Now, when there was some discussion at the very beginning of the Kurukshetra battle, where Bhishma informed, I'll be able to destroy anybody and everybody except I won't fight Sikandi. And the reason he won't fight Sikandi is because Sikandi was born a woman and then became a man. One of those. We won't go into it. It's not by medical surgery like goes on today. It's a whole other intrigue and a Mahabharata story, and the woman became a man. And so I won't fight Sikandi because he is previously a woman. So Sikandi is the one that was assigned to kill Grandfather Bhishma, which he did. So when Grandfather Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows, then there's another challenge that's being represented by Jayadratha. Now, who's Jayadratha? He's a king, and he married. We know this, that Dhritarashtra had 100 sons. But did you know that Dhritarashtra also had 1 daughter? Yes. And that 1 daughter's name was Dushala. And Dushala married Jayadratha. And on their wedding day, they're riding in his wedding chariot. And over to the side, he sees Draupadi. Woo, 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 Draupadi. He wanted to get down from his chariot and kidnap Draupadi. She's married. But he's this fellow that he didn't care. So here's a little bit, so I couldn't figure it out. Down in the lower left corner, there's Jayadratha's name as the one who married Dushala. And then above Dushala's name are the other 100 sons. Those of you that are holding your cameras up, I'll just send you this image because it's distracting to see the cameras up, the little program. Who should I send it to? I'll send it to Satyasar, and you circulate it to others. This chart, people like charts. You know, it's all way at the top. There's Shantanu with his two wives, Ganga and Satyavati, and all of that. At Chitrangada and Vichitavirya, and etc., 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 etc. But he, Jayadratha, had married the one daughter of Dhritarashtra. And he, aside from his wedding day, there was another time when he actually tried to abduct Draupadi. Now, Draupadi she was a princess. She's the expansion of the goddess of fortune, but she had a strong punch too. She was a Kshatriya spirited lady. And Jayadratha tried to accost her. She punched him in the jaw and he fell to the ground. He didn't like that. So he tied her up and put her on his chariot and tried to steal her this way. Well, Bhima found out. And Bhima got his club. And Bhima was going to finish Jayadratha. But Yudhishthira intervened. Yudhishthira asked him, requested, or instructed his younger brother, spare him. Punish him, but don't kill him. So a decision was made that they would humiliate him. They took Arjuna took a sword, very, very sharp sword, and shaved his head bald except for 5 little tufts of hair, and then declared loudly, laughing at him, as you see them pointing at him and calling him names, and then finally was released. You're a slave of Yudhishthira. And then released him. So he let his hair grow when he was released, and he went way up in the Himalayas, and he underwent very severe austerities in order to please Lord Shiva. And when Lord Shiva appeared after long austerities, look, his hair has grown back. Lord Shiva gave boons, 2 boons to Jayadratha. One of those 2 boons, he could defeat all the Pandavas except Arjuna. And that anyone who made Jayadratha's head fall on the ground would have his own head broken into 7 pieces. Jayadratha liked that. So a circumstance happened where he, Jayadratha, was, during the Kurukshetra battle, was holding back the Pandavas while day 13, I think it was, of the battle, Abhimanyu, who was such an intense fighter, Abhimanyu was Krishna's son. Yes? Krishna was the son, Arjuna's son. Arjuna's son, and who was the mother? Subhadra. You with me? Yes? You know this history? Yeah, good. Good, good. And this arrangement was made, as the image on the right shows, when they were in the kingdom of Virat. Arjuna was acting as a dance teacher, and he was such a good dance teacher. And when the king found out, wait a minute, this isn't a dance teacher, he's Arjuna, can you marry my daughter? He said, no, my daughter is a student. Teachers don't marry their students. But I have a son. and about the age of your daughter, my son can marry. So that's Abhimanyu married Uttara. And on the 13th day of the battle, Abhimanyu was such an intense, he was young, just 16, but he was such a fighter. No one could stop him. So then they decided to gang up on him and do something that's illegal. 7 generals attacked one 16-year-old. And they not only attacked him, but they made an arrangement of circles called a vyuha. And he was in the inside of that circle, and the circle of warriors ganged up on him. And during that period of time, Jayadrath was the one who held back the Pandavas, and Abhimanyu was killed. See that circle around? There's Jayadrath. And down in the center, the generals are killing Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna. Arjuna became very angry, and he took a vow. He was going to kill Jayadrath before sunset the next day, or he would enter into fire. Now, when the Kauravas heard this vow of Arjuna, they thought, fantastic, battle's over. We just have to, tomorrow, we just have to protect Jayadrath. That's it. For one day. And Arjuna is going to enter into fire. So Krishna asked Arjuna, why did you say that? You know why he said that? Because I knew you'd protect me. So day 14, there's the Conch. The armies are arrayed, and the battle has begun. And massive armies on both sides, huge armies arrayed with elephants and horses and chariots and this and that. Right away, Arjuna is in action, firing hundreds of arrows, one after the next, at the entire Kaurava army, and mowing down many soldiers, because Arjuna was such a capable fighter. He began fighting with his teacher, Dronacharya, but he realized the futility of fighting with his teacher, so he scooted around and away from his teacher. And there's his teacher looking back over Arjuna's shoulder, saying, wait a minute, where are you going? I'm busy. And Arjuna challenged by Duryodhana. And what did Arjuna do? He fired many arrows that went through the hands and fingers of Duryodhana. Ouch. And now Arjuna had one focus, Jayadrath. And then the armies, they just circled around Jayadrath to prevent Arjuna from getting to Jayadrath. They forgot one thing, Bhima, with his powerful club, tried to clear the way so Arjuna could get to Jayadrath and fulfill his pledge. And the sun was setting. But as the sun was setting, only a few minutes before the sun was setting, Krishna knew what to do. He summoned his Sudarshan chakra, raised his right hand, Sudarshan chakra immediately came, and the end of his outstretched finger, and throwing that disc, he covered the sun like an eclipse, and darkness enveloped the field. So the Kauravas thought, yay, Arjuna is going to kill himself because he made this vow. Thinking of the sun had set, the Kauravas cheered. Jayadrath was still alive. Now Arjuna would enter fire. Surely the war was over. Suddenly, Krishna withdrew his chakra, and it was light again. The sun clearly visible just above the western horizon. Arjuna instantly released his arrow. It flew straight at Jayadrath, caught unawares by the sudden reappearance of the sun. saved by Krishna one more time. Krishna said, the old Sindhu king, that's Jayadratha's father, Vridha Kshatra, a constant enemy of the gods, blessed his son Jayadratha that whoever made his head fall to earth will himself die. His own head shattered in 100 pieces. No, Lord Shiva said 9. His father said 100. Shiva's word comes out stronger. I know that Vridhakshattra is now sits some miles from here at Samat Panchaka Lake, deep in meditation. Therefore, empower your arrow to carry Jayadratha's head to his father's lap. So that's exactly what Arjuna did with an arrow charged with the Brahmastra power. The head of Jayadratha went flying in the air, landed right in the lap of Jayadratha's father, who was so surprised that he pushed the head off his lap onto the ground. And as you see on the upper right side, his head cracked in 7 pieces immediately. But it's not over yet, because there's 18 days, right? So on the 15th day, there's Drona Acharya, who is the commander of the Kuru army, because Bhishma is now dead. So Dronacharya became the commander-in-chief of the final 5 days, or the remaining 5 days after Bhishma's demise. So there's Dronacharya, and then you know what was done. What was done? Krishna instructed Yudhisthira to tell a lie. Do you know what that lie was? What was the name of Dronacharya's son? Ashvatthama. Yes, you remember. So Yudhisthira, say audibly so Dronacharya can hear, Ashvatthama is dead. Because that'll take away the fighting spirit of his father. So it was Ashvatthama the elephant was dead. And when he heard, he immediately lost his desire to live. And Drishtadyumna, who at that time was the commander-in-chief of the Pandava army, he was born at the same time that Draupadi was born from this fire, and he was born with the intention that he would kill Dronacharya. Well, sure enough, he did, but he didn't do it in a fair way. While Dronacharya was in deep sorrow hearing that his son has died, Drishtadyumna came and chopped his head off, unarmed. Day 17. This is Karna with his wheel stuck. You know, we did this already. So here's what Krishna said. No, this is this incident that happened way back before the Kurukshetra began. You're the one that mentioned this one? Was it you? Ashvatthama, someone in our youth group said, isn't it true that Indra came in disguise? Was it you that said that? Not here. Oh, too bad. Okay, well, here's what happened. On the eve of the famous Mahabharata battle, Indra, disguised as a Brahmin, went to Karna and asked for his celestial armor and charity. Immediately, no hesitation. Indra wasn't sure what he would do, but Immediately, because he was charitable disposed, particularly to Brahmanas, he personally removed with a knife, he removed the armor covering his body. Karna had been cautioned by the sun god that Lord Indra was going to make such a request, but Karna was so large-hearted that he could not refuse when a Brahmana made a request. Knowing fully well that Indra was playing a trick in disguise as a Brahmana, he parted with the celestial armor, which were parts of his body since birth, which made him invincible. Indra was very surprised. Now, that's not the end of the story. There's more to the story. Indra was very pleased, said, Karna, what you've done today, no ordinary mortal could have done. I'm immensely pleased with your generosity. You can ask for any benediction you want. What did he ask for? If you're really pleased with me, then you may kindly give me your Shakti weapon, which has the potential to destroy any enemy. Who's enemy number one for Karna? Arjuna. But something happened. Lord Indra gave the Shakti weapon to Karna on the condition that Karna could use it only once, and thereafter the weapon shall be returned to Indra. However, by clever arrangement, who was the one that fought Karna first? Yeah. The Shakti weapon actually meant to kill Arjuna was used in his fight with Gatotkacha. And then it had to be given back to Indra so he couldn't use it against Arjuna. They're full of intrigue, huh? So Karna's wheel was stuck. This is the part I wanted to read to you. And Karna was saying to Arjuna, this is against the codes of military conduct. I'm preparing my chariot wheel, and you're going to fire an arrow at me? That's unfair. Krishna didn't resist. When it suits you, you adamantly oppose an unjust act against yourself or against your friends, but you do not speak up against the injustice of others. Where was your sense of justice when the Pandavas were cheated out of their kingdom, or when Draupadi was dragged into the assembly by her hair, or when 6 warriors surrounded Abhimanyu and cut him down? No, my friend, you'll be treated the way you have allowed others to be treated. Decisions we make, we're responsible, we're accountable for them. Karna was slain by Arjuna's Anjalika weapon. What's the Anjalika weapon? It's a weapon of Indra given to Arjuna, and specifically he used it for this purpose. And when Karna was killed in this way, Duryodhana was very, very sad. But that wasn't the end. There was a battle between Karna and Bhima. And the battle between Karna and Bhima, it was with clubs. There's a whole backstory of, Balaram didn't want to see all this and so forth and so on. But there was a battle and a battle and battle, and Bhima won, and Duryodhana was dead. You see in the background, there's Balaram with a plow over his shoulder. See in the drawing? And Krishna is there. They're spectators of watching this heroic battle. After the demise of Duryodhana came this situation with the weapon of Ashwatthama released against Maharaj Parikshit. We're nearing an end to part 2. So, he whom Krishna protects, Rake Krishna Mare Ke, Mare Krishna Rake Ke. He whom Krishna protects, no one can kill. But if Krishna wants to kill someone, no one can protect him. Many great misfortunes befell the Pandavas, but in all circumstances, they simply depended on Krishna, who saved them. The Brahmastra weapon was used to check the Brahmastra, the Sudarshan chakra of Krishna, protected the Brahmastra weapon sent by Ashvatthama against Maharaj Parikshit. So here's the end of the battle, and all is well that ends well, right? And that's the prayer number 25 of Queen Kunti, and we'll continue tomorrow evening. Not tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening is something else. Right? Tomorrow evening? Okay, tomorrow evening, great. Part 3. Tomorrow evening, confirmed. See if there's some discussion. There's always been really lively discussion. Go ahead. Do we have the microphone? I have the microphone. Here's the microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, that was a great class, thank you. So I had 2 questions.
2?
Yeah. So my first question was that, so like Vyasa wrote the Mahabharata, but like he still felt unsatisfied, which led him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam after like instruction from Narada. And in the Mahabharata, Vyasa did not really like, I wouldn't say addressed Queen Kunti's like
Vyasadeva what?
He didn't like address Queen Kunti's like detailed prayers to Krishna.
No, of course not.
Yeah, but then in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he had included more.
Yeah.
Was this because after he met Narada Muni, he had like gotten the different perspective on Queen Kunti?
You know the history. It's in Canto 1, Chapter 7. In the despondency, and Narada came to visit, and Narada asked, Vyasa asked, why am I feeling despondency? Did I make mistakes? No, you made no mistakes. But you haven't sufficiently glorified, so do this. And sit in trance of meditation, that which you experience in your trance of meditation, let that be the composition of your new text.
Okay.
So it was the 100% focus on the absolute truth, the original source of everything, Krishna. And there's several verses in Canto 1, Chapter 7, that indicate what Vyasa experienced in that trance, and then he wrote. So it was that experience of exclusive devotional meditation upon Krishna that produced this Srimad Bhagavatam in its full form. It's 18,000 verses. So it was that instruction of Narada and the realization that he had that gave the fruit of, the seed gave the fruit of the tree of Bhagavatam. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers. Thank you.
Okay,
Maharaj.
second question.
So, from my understanding, when Arjuna and Duryodhana met Krishna for asking for for Krishna to be on his side, and Krishna
Asking for what?
for Krishna to be on like Arjuna's side, and then Krishna gave his army to Duryodhana.
Yeah.
So Krishna's army was fighting for the Kauravas, right? And
Half-hearted.
yeah, so would they have like gotten any like sort of karma for that?
No.
Okay.
They're following Krishna's indication. That's all. And all those persons on the Kurukshetra battle, you know the answer, all the persons on the Kurukshetra battlefield achieved liberation. Both sides.
Got it. Maharaj.
No karma.
Thank you.
No. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
I go.
I have two questions too.
Aha.
So my first question is, I was reading a book in Bengali. It's not from ISKCON. It was about Queen Kunti. So there it was mentioned that Maharani Kunti and Maharani Madri, they were in their past life they were Stuti and Dhwatri, I think. So yeah.
I'm not going to reply.
Yeah, okay. So
When you hear advice, when you hear blah, 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 reference, is it true? Is there scriptural foundation for blah, blah, blah? You know, I can give some, an example came to my attention in the past 24 hours. And it has to do with what's coming up over the Thanksgiving weekend. One of the things we're going to be discussing over the Thanksgiving weekend is the place where Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. There's a name of the place. And one devotee in Houston, this is just giving an example, not picking on anybody. One devotee in Houston gave me a book of Bhakti Vikash Maharaj visiting different places. One of those places where the Bhagavatam was spoken. And there was reference on page 156 that said, according to Jiva Goswami, that Sukadeva Goswami in his previous life was Radharani's parrot. I said, really? So I researched, and there's no such reference. So I sent a note to the devotee in Houston. This is written in Bhakti Vikash Maharaj's book that you gave me as a gift. But I can't find any scriptural reference to verify that. Do you know the reference? I just didn't, just an open-ended question. Within 24 hours, I got 5 answers. There is no such reference. I got a personal letter from Bhakti Vikash Maharaj apologizing for putting, it was a lecture that he gave, and his lecture was transcribed, and he said it because he heard it from Shivaram Maharaj, and then Shivaram Maharaj wrote a letter saying, yeah, I heard it from Narayan Maharaj, but there's no scriptural reference for it. And now I apologize for saying that in a lecture, and Bhakti Vikash Maharaj put it in a book, and there's no reference for it. So, principle, when you hear blah, 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 is there a scriptural reference for that, please? And if there isn't one, you know where, there's a place, circular file called the garbage can. And it goes over there. No, each one of us growing up heard stuff. You've heard yours, and I've heard mine, and we've all heard ours. And they have, so we want authoritative sources. And then you have to be a little fussy about what authoritative sources that you accept.
thank you, Maharaj. So my second question is about the
It's a good principle to going forward in your spiritual life. It's not like got your hand on your hips and saying, oh yeah, well, show me. Not in an attitude, but with integrity to stay true to reality as opposed to blah, blah. To be a little cautious and circumspect about everything, anything and everything. Don't be a blind follower. Don't be a blind objector either. Okay, now I'm off my soapbox. But it's an important lesson to learn as a community. Go ahead.
But yeah, definitely I will again go through that and I'll see if there is any reference written there. So yeah, thank you, Maharaj. So
Not that it's written, but is there a scriptural basis for
yes,
such a
definitely.
statement?
Yeah, definitely. I will search
Okay,
it.
that's it. Enough. Part
So,
two.
Yeah, my second question is about the assembly, the where the gambling was happening. So, I'm thinking like Krishna was also present when the gambling was happening, like
No, he was not.
No, I mean like not physically, but Krishna is present.
Well, Krishna's everywhere, but
Yeah.
and he heard Draupadi a call and he came. But the Acharyas describe, he's all the way in Dwarka. And he heard, and he came, and he did.
Okay, so yeah, my question was like, why he didn't protect the minds of intelligent of like Dhritarashtra to take.
He doesn't interfere. Man proposes, God disposes. He's not partial. Duryodhana is a wicked person. He's desiring, he's disposed to wicked things. Duryodhana takes consequences for his wicked things.
Yep. But they were devotees. Yudhishthira and his brothers were devotees. So I thought like, they're intelligent.
Well, they were protected. The Pandavas and Draupadi and Kunti and etc. Difficulties, yes. Protected, absolutely. And we just heard those put in greater difficulty, Krishna shows special favor because they're in greater difficulty. So Krishna smiles and Krishna sanctions. And the intensity of the shelter taking goes up. And there's the intensity of the reciprocation from their shelter taking goes up. They feel closer to Krishna. Well, that's a devotee. It's a sign of a devotee, as opposed to someone that doesn't have Krishna's shelter. Some hardship comes, and it's boo-hoo, or trying to outsmart the problem, using their material faculties to neutralize the obstacle without any shelter. It's hopeless. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Someone else. All the way in the back. Just pass it over your shoulder.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is that Krishna told to Drona, Karna, that you will be treated the way you treated us.
Yes.
But in our life, there are many people that very powerful people, treat us in an awkward way, and we cannot do anything.
That's right.
So, but can we apply it?
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a real nice example. A real nice example from a presentation I made at Texas A&M. And that is, what's the South African Nelson Mandela. Yeah. You know him. 27 years he was in prison doing, mindless, spirit-breaking activity. And there was nothing he could do. Or there's other examples, other examples. Someone's in a Nazi concentration camp. There's nothing they can do. But they survived, and they wrote books to help people in circumstances there's nothing they can do about. So life has such things. Even for good people, virtuous people, wise people are put into difficulty. There's nothing they can do about it. But Krishna's protection isn't taken away, even in those circumstances. Now, does that respond to your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
It happens. Misfortune comes to great people sometimes. And one of the symptoms of their greatness is how they respond to the misfortune. One of the symptoms of their greatness is how they respond to the misfortune. And that the greatness of the great is taking shelter of the personality of Godhead. And there are different ways of saying that. I could give other examples, but it's okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Regarding the Krishna and Krishna's army, so Krishna's army went to Duryodhana, Krishna went with Arjuna. So even though they just followed, the Krishna's army followed Krishna's instruction.
Yeah.
So, and they all died in the war. So what is the state after, like what happened to them after?
Liberation.
Oh.
Everyone on the battlefield was liberated. Good guys, bad guys, and chariot drivers.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I will.
So Mother Kunti and Arjuna, they're all Nitya Siddha devotees.
They're all what?
Nitya Siddha devotees.
Yes, that's right.
So when we talk about Naranarayana, are they like expansion of the original Krishna and Arjuna?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Avatars of the original. Yeah.
So it's not like previous birth.
No. It's not chronological. It's ontological.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I'm thinking to ask or no, but yeah.
Your son wants to ask a question too.
So in battlefield, Krishna tricks 2 times to the Kauravas.
Little boy needs some help.
Okay, you can talk.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you understand her question? I'm asking you to explain her question.
Yeah, I think is it Krishna being partial because he asked people one was
Ashwatthama. So the question is, was Krishna partial? It's coming up in Queen Kunti's prayers, but she gives the example and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur amplifies, the sun shines everywhere equally. And in some places the sun seems to be brighter, some places it's less bright, but the sun shines equally. So it's the receptivity of this light of the sun is determining, whether it seems brighter or less bright. But the sun's not partial. And similarly, Krishna is not partial. Although it may look to the observer, he's partial. No, he's not a stone. He has feelings for those who take shelter of him, but it's reciprocation of those who take shelter of him. And those that don't want his shelter, he doesn't dislike them. He just doesn't give his shelter because they don't want his shelter. So it looks like partiality. And then, and in this world, there's morality. And in the transcendental world, the same binding rules do not apply. Like, here's a little example. When this morning, there was a class with the Chinese devotees, and the topic was 9th Canto, Chapter 10, Ramachandra. So a question came, is there some significance to the number 14? Kaikeyi wanted Ramachandra to go to the forest for 14 years. Is there some significance to that number, 14? And it relates to the question. So, yes, two reasons. One, subjective, the other, scriptural. Scriptural is according to Manu Samhita. If someone neglects attending to their property for 14 years, they lose claim over their property by laws of Manu. 14 years. Second, the people in Ayodhya had such strong love for Ramachandra. In 14 years, it's reasonable time to get over it. That was her calculation. They didn't get over it. But subjectively, she had an idea. And Ramachandra, 14 years, Haribol. When Kaikeyi said those two things, what did Ramachandra say? What he said in Ramayana, is that all, mother? I'll leave it once. That was it. Partiality. It's reciprocal. It's the nature of the absolute person is absolute. There's not partiality. It may appear to a worldly eye. There's dharma, and there's right and there's wrong, and then there's what's above right and wrong. Maryada Purushottama. Ramchandra is the perfection of the model of ideal observance of Dharma. And then some people have their hands on their hips, saying, what about this, what about that, and what about the third thing? And they have their issues with Ramachandra. How can he send his pregnant wife to a forest? What kind of Dharma is that? And there are very reasonable explanations, but the very reasonable explanations don't catch the ear of moralists. They just stick to the morality that they have a view of. Just today, a question came up. What about the Shudra that was doing asceticism and Ramchandra killed him? I forget his name. What's his name? Starts with an S. An ascetic Shudra. And Ramchandra killed him. Just during, the rule period of his life. So the explanation given by Madhvacharya is, He wasn't killed because he was doing austerity. He was a demon. He had this idea that he was going to take the position of Lord Shiva, take the position of the wife of Sati, and as if Lord Shiva is a post and he can occupy the post. It wasn't worship of Lord Shiva. It was austerity so he could become Lord Shiva. Ramchandra responded to the people that lived in the vicinity of this personality. It wasn't because he was doing asceticism. It was because his intention was wicked, demoniac. And the people in his vicinity petitioned Ramachandra, "You're a king, protect us from this fellow." And so he did. He killed them. And then more or less subject. The person that sent me this question said, "Thank you, Madhvacharya, because my family are criticizing Ramachandra. Her family," she's an initiated devotee, "her family back in India are criticizing Ramachandra." The moralist, because he's partial. It reciprocates with, the consciousness and the purpose of everyone, good and bad and mixed. He's not partial. Haribol. Anyone else? I think we're end. Where have we finished? Thank you all very much for coming. We will part 3 tomorrow.
Guru Maharaj, Shivatsa is going to give a quick summary of the class.
Really? Here you go.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful class about the prayers of Queen Kunti. Some key points that you covered was that Krishna puts his devotees in danger to make them more attached to the Lord. Krishna protects Arjuna from Bhishma's weapons. You also talked about the background of Jayadratha's two boons. You also talked about, you highlighted the cruel slaughter of Abhimanyu, as well as you said that they killed Dronacharya by telling him that his son has been killed. And you also talked about how Karna was slain by Arjuna's Angelica weapon. And yeah, that's all. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.